Hello everyone, I'm He Xiaoye with CGTN, and we're coming to you live from the Luquetang grassland in Maiba Township, Shenzhen County of Nagqu, and this is one of the calving grounds of Tibetan antelope. In today's program, we have invited Wu Xiaoming, a professor from the Shaanxi Institute of Zoology, and he will give you more about the scientific survey and this migration season of Tibetan antelopes. I'm Wu Xiaolin. I'm a researcher at the Shaanxi Institute of Zoology. Well, how many trips have you paid to Tibet? Well, I have lost count of how many trips I have made. Starting from 2003, we have been traveling here to the Qinghai Tibet Plateau. When the railway was under construction, we started our monitoring about the migration of animals living along the line, and we come here every summer and also during the winter, which is the breeding season. So we have been here for quite some time. We rely on drones, sensors, among other technologies, and so we have actually two parts. We have the calving ground, and we also have the breeding ground in this area, and we have equipped video surveillance tools. So we have been here for a few days, and we have seen that there are over 1,000 Tibetan antelopes, but the Luquetang ground is actually very large, and in this ground we have roughly 10,000 Tibetan antelopes. Yes, it is, and but the number is changing year by year, and in this year we're not seeing such a big number of antelopes, and because they are pretty scattered across the entire region. So we have shepherds from the Tibetan region that are herding goats here, and so what you see is a mixture of all the different animals, and we have Tibetan antelopes and goats. So this is truly a scene of harmony between man and nature. So we are able to see such a spectacular scene at this season of migration. I will have my colleague to give you more about this region. In 2012, we installed two surveillance cameras. This is powered by solar energy, so we are able to monitor the Tibetan antelopes 24/7. So whenever there is an antelope come into our range, and we can turn on the camera and record the scene. And this video data is transmitted to our terminals like cell phones and computers on a real-time basis. So this is a full-time, no invasive tool of surveillance. So we are monitoring the situation of the antelopes in this way. So the cameras are able to catch those fantastic moments of the antelope. And what are the funny moments that we have captured? Well, in the calving ground and the breeding ground, I can tell you we have recorded a lot of very complete process of antelopes giving birth to newborns, and all those footages are transmitted to our devices on a real-time basis, so we were able to record every stage of the scene. So we truly have collected a lot of footage, ranging from the calving and breeding season, and we also recorded some other animals like wolves and foxes and how these animals are affecting the breeding and also the birth of Tibetan antelopes. Additionally, in nearby regions, and we have installed some long-distance cameras which are able to zoom in and capture regions which were traditionally not covered by our surveillance. Every summer, we are able to collect all sorts of materials. And also, when there is a situation identified, we can send our staff there to understand closely the changing situation of the riverway and waterway. So at different regions, and we are collecting data in a systemic way. And this is the border area of the calving ground, and you can see that we are collecting samples of soil. So what is this for? So we can use this. We can collect the samples of feces, and we will understand the different organisms contained. So you mentioned that the whole process of Tibetan antelopes giving birth to calves was recorded, and we found out that when the calf is just born, it only takes 10 minutes before the little calf is able to stand on its feet. Is that true? Yes, it is. And so at the very beginning, the mother would lay down on the ground and then give birth to her baby. And you can see the whole process is very peaceful. And when the calf is born, the mother would lick the outer layer off, and immediately after that, the little calf would learn how to stand on its feet. And you can see he's trembling because he was just born. And let me tell you, within 20 minutes, the calf is able to stand on its feet. And that is pretty remarkable. So it's very fast for the calf to stand up, because he needs to very quickly adapt to the wild. So how long does it take before the calf is able to truly get used to the natural environment? Well, let me tell you, within the first day, he's able to follow his mother, and within roughly 10 days, the little calf is able to follow the herd of Tibetan antelope. And within the first 15 days, the little calf is able to eat some grass on his own. But that process is, of course, accompanied by mother antelopes. And within this period, they will not go away from their mothers because they are breastfed. So when the Tibetan antelopes are caring for their calves, are there techniques that you have observed? Well, before the cutoff of breastfeeding, I can tell you the bond between the mother and the calf is pretty strong. And in the calving ground, many predators would also come here. For example, brown bears and foxes, and some predatory birds, and they would come here and attack the calves. And during this period, let me tell you, the mother antelopes, they are very protective, and when there is a wolf, the mother antelope would rush out as a group to fend off the incoming predators. And they would also leave the calves at the very center of the herd. So they always make sure that the calves are well protected in the center. And also during when they leave the calving ground, and on the way, they might encounter some predators and some unpleasant weather and harsh conditions. For example, when they need to cross a river, the mothers would carry their calves on their backs. And we saw that the front legs would be on the back of the mother. So this is just like a human mother carrying her baby. And it's a very caring and moving scene. So the mother is doing whatever it can to protect its baby. And from Tibetan antelopes, we can truly see the strong mother and calf bond. So you said that they are very protective and caring, and that is in their genes. And so Professor Wu shared a lot of very touching and interesting stories. And actually, in this program, we have a new friend joining us, which is a robotic quadruped from Hangzhou. And you can see that this little robotic dog is walking on a grassland. And when there is a signal, we can send an order to the robotic dog. And so is that very supportive and helpful? Yes, it is, and it has empowered our scientific service, because at the middle area in the plateau, the weather can be pretty unpredictable, and we may have heavy downpour, which makes the camera very hard to operate, and sometimes we have strong gusts of wind, and so it's very hard for us to monitor the situation on site using traditional camera. And at that time, we can use drones. But the robotic quadruped has its own advantages. And if we're talking about a middle ground like that, and after rain, it's very hard for people, for humans, to walk on it. This is very off-road situation, and it's very difficult for human beings to access certain areas. So at those extreme situations, and they can be a very effective complement to our wildlife study, and so it's truly playing a very important role, and it's very adaptive to plateau and extreme geological and natural conditions. And in the future, we are going to add new features, for example, camouflage, audio and video system. So when that is improved, it will play a much more significant role in the protection of wildlife. We are making this robotic dog much more powerful going forward, and when all the basic features are met, and they will have camouflage, and they will be more equipped to transmit signals and information under extreme harsh conditions. So this robotic dog is truly like a drone that is walking on the ground, and it will have minimum interference over the herd, because it has a lower angle of camera. It's also very flexible and agile, and it can collect images that that's not easy to collect using traditional approaches. And Professor Wu said that on this grassland we have Tibetan antelopes, and we also have other species of wildlife. And if you follow our camera, you can see we have traditional goats that you see at other parts of China. So this is homegrown goats. And do they get along well with Tibetan antelopes? Yes, they do get along very well with Tibetan antelopes, because this is a grazing region, and we have a lot of herds of goats. So we're talking about a pasturing area that is very huge, and sometimes the goats would come here and get mixed up with the Tibetan antelopes. And in the early calving period, the Tibetan antelopes are very small, and so sometimes they would mix up, they would share the water from one same river, but when they grow up a little bit, they will be separated naturally. And when there's a sufficient amount of grass, and they can truly get along very well with each other. And over the past few days, we have seen that some of the shepherds, they're just living nearby, and they're living along the roads, and those shepherds, and they're truly leading a very cozy life here. Yes, it is. And so they know each other very well, and those goats and Tibetan antelopes, and they have gotten accustomed to the vehicles running on the road, and the drivers, they wouldn't come down to hurt the antelope, so they know we're human beings riding and driving vehicles, and they get used to that, and there is no interference between the two species, human and antelope. So at the Luquetang grassland, and this is part of the Xizang National Nature Reserve. And the Xizang National Nature Reserve is the place that hosts Tibetan antelope, and also Tibetan foxes, and black-neck swines, and you can see how elegant they are when they are walking along the watershed. And so we have all types of species, and truly this is the region of biodiversity. And Professor Wu, can you say a few words about the Xizang National Nature Reserve and how different species are getting along well with each other here? So this is truly a place that has gathered many plateau species, and we have a lot of black-neck swines, and this is an area with very good plantation. We have a huge number of Tibetan antelopes, and we also have a lot of goats. And earlier this morning, we saw a big herd of goats climbing those cliffs and mountains, and we have a lot of species here. So in and near the Xizang National Nature Reserve, there's truly a wide variety of animals and species. And we have birds, we have land animals. So the food chain is very complete. We also have some foxes and some predators, and so the numbers have been very stable, and there is a very good configuration of population amongst different species, and truly this is the place where men get along very well with the wildlife. This is not just a region with a great natural landscape and scenery. and from the perspective of biodiversity and the completeness of food chain, this is a place that you cannot find in other parts of the country easily. So yes, we have felt how human beings are getting along very well with animals in this region, and so we advise you to pay close attention to those wildlife when you drive by, and so only in this way can we truly sustain this beautiful land. Well, stay tuned, and until next time, bye.